Hello everyone, welcome to week 45 of the daily/weekly race guide. First up, we're at Tsukuba here in what you can see in the background, a Mazda RX-7. So we have rotary and pop-up headlights. What a combo. Let's have a look at the race details then. We are racing 5 laps here at Tsukuba. It's a grid start, you will need traction control, and we are on sports hard tyres. As I say, we are in the Mazda RX-7, but Tsukuba always very hard to overtake. Always ends up being a little bit carnagey, and that's no different in this race. Let's jump to it now. Here we are then at the start. Look at the pop-up headlights. This is so cool. I love pop-up headlights. But you can see, obviously, RX-7, happy days for everybody. Rotary engine. But at the start, do remember traction control. As I say, you will need it at the start. Now, the good thing about this car, actually, is you only need 2 gears for this race. But we'll get into that in a second. We get ready for the start here. You see my brake balance there, -1 brake balance, always in the description, always check it out there. Whack traction control off, of course, at the start. Now I'm going to go for a very risky move at the start. I wouldn't recommend going on the outside at Tsukuba. If you look on the right hand side, you can see all sorts of bashing going on. You know, no one's trying to race dirty here, it's just little bits of bashing there. 2 people go off, they come back on, all sorts of carnage. 5 into 1 doesn't go. Pleb ends up in the barrier. Really frustrating that. So initially I was a bit peeved by it, but I looked back on it and I was like, actually, you couldn't have done anything. But let's go into a track guide then. Let me show you. 50 meters for turn 1. That's my brake marker for this one. As I say, you only need 2 gears for this. 3rd gear and 4th gear. You don't need to use any other gears here. So I dropped down to 3rd gear. Basically, you want the car to rotate. It rotates a little bit there. You just saw that. And just plant your foot down, and off you go. It bogged down a little bit, but it just saves you the gear delay basically when you change gears. Now my brake marker for turn 2 effectively at Tsukuba is always the sort of like the apex of this slight right. So when that's obviously hit its limit going into the track, that's where I brake. Again, I'm saying in 3rd gear, you're probably going, wow, this is the hairpin, you should be in 3rd gear. But actually, it's perfect for it. You can start to hear the revs build up there quite quickly. A slight lift, I dab the brakes a little bit there as well. You might want to brake, you might not want to, that's entirely up to you. Stay in 3rd gear now, just keep it going in 3rd gear. Don't think about changing gear. And as you get to this corner, you got that dark green little bit there on the left-hand side of the circuit. So anywhere in there you're looking to brake, obviously a little bit earlier the better because we are in road cars. So just keep that in mind. And again, 3rd gear. Now this one can bog down a little bit, but it's about even with a 2nd gear pull when they then change to 3rd gear. So as I say, I personally would just go with a 3rd and 4th gear here. And it really will help you because then you can understand the car control more rather than going, oh, should I be in 2nd, should I be in 3rd and all that good stuff. As you head towards this right-hander though, on the left-hand side, see how those browny grass markings happen there, start getting very bulky very quickly. That's your marker basically. And you're going to stay in 4th gear here, try and trail brake it in, come in on this kind of line, try and clip the curb, and then really use the exit curb, you know, get out there as best as you can. Now obviously, I'm not really going to show much racing in this one because I basically got punted to Narnia basically. Obviously it was an accident and all that good stuff. But there was a tiny bit of racing, so we caught up to the Brit in front of us here, but something weird happens here. So look, they go a bit wide, and then the game decides to push them right back onto the apex for no apparent reason. So that kind of ruined the race again, really. And you know, at the end of the day, it was sort of like, yeah, we do catch up to them again, but I do think the other 2 races are going to be better for racing. So I didn't redo this race, to be honest. I could have done, but I decided not to because I think a lot of people are going to experience the carnage at turn 1. That's going to decide the race, and as you see by the track map as well, lots of gaps suddenly appear, and then you're sort of just racing 1 car for those 5 laps. But we'll see if we can get past John Joe here, heading towards the last corner on this last lap then, as we brake. So we're letting them take the really tight line, trying to go for a lovely little cutback. That's not going to quite work. A bit of a weird line there, but it actually helped John Joe keep that P9, and we get P10 there. As I say, not one of my favourite races. But you know, the guide's there if you need it. Let's head to race B then, where we head to Alsace. And as you can see, we are in Group 3 machinery. Quite an unusual combo this. I'm not sure we've seen this combo too much, to be honest. Normally it's road cars at Alsace or Group 4, so a little bit of a nice change. Now, I was a bit unsure initially with this race, but actually, I think it's quite good. Now, let's jump to the race details first of all. We are racing 4 laps here at Alsace, so quite a good length in the grand scheme of it. It's a rolling start. You do have to be careful that rolling start. Obviously, if you're near the back, you're starting right in that last sort of sector complex of corners, and we are on racing hard tyres. Now, as you can see, I am in the Lexus in the background, but as always with Group 3, because there's no tyre wear or no fuel, just pick what you like, just enjoy the racing. And my word, what racing do we have at this circuit actually? Because the circuit's so wide, you can take various lines, you can go for different moves. I had some real good fun here. So let's actually have a look at that race. I'll give you a track guide and actually show you why I'm actually, you know, this is a thumbs up for me. This is a good combo. Thank you, PD. Here we are then with the grid. Let's have a look at the cars on the grid then. FT1 Beetle, you know, there's a mixture of all sorts there. BMW in there, Viper, Consta's in at the back there as well, Aston Martin. Now you're probably going, why is everyone in an FR car? Surely the Lamborghini should be good here. Now the MR cars are not good here for one particular corner, which I'll talk about in the track guide. But here we go. This is what I mean about starting this last sector complex, it being a bit awkward. Maybe use traction control if you're a little bit concerned there, but we managed to survive there. We've got an SLS in front of us. How cool is that? I love Group 3. It's, you know, it's the most balanced class. Still needs a little bit of work, but you know what? It's nice to just be able to jump into a race. Oh, speaking of jumping into something, the track guide. So turn 1, I always use this curb. Now, obviously you see I'm braking quite early here compared to that curb, but that's my marker. So depending on your car, that's the marker to use. But we do that very well. I think we turned in a tiny bit too early. We could have broken a little bit later. But all good as we exit out of there, although we've got a little bit of oversteer. So we're going to head now on this long back straight into a slight left and then the sharp right, basically. So as you head to this point, you're looking on the left-hand side, you've got those arrows there. I always use the first arrow. Obviously, that can never be taken out, so that's why I like my permanent brake marker here. So I use that, and what you want to do is a wide line in, usually. Obviously, if you're racing someone, they're going to go on the inside. But a wide line in gives you a lovely line on the exit, because it goes off camber very quickly, whereas the inside is sort of on camber. It really helps you nicely, and as you can see there, we gain the position from the South African there as we go through the left. Happy days. And as we head up towards this sharp 90-degree right-hander here, I generally use the curb. Now, you might want to use the banner above as well. You know, both are very useful here, but I use the curb. And what I'm actually going to struggle with, you want a late turning, basically. And the driver in front of me, the German, goes for a very tight line. So it sort of stops on the apex. So you see I'm in second gear here. I normally do this in third gear in the Lexus. So very much slow down on speed there, just from that mistake from the German in front of me. Now, heading towards this left, again, the arrows on the right-hand side telling you that there is a left-hand turn. And again, you want a wide line. A lot of people turn in too early here, try and keep it tight, and then run wide on the exit. So what you tend to want to do is you see this late apex that I go for. You see the German went for a tighter line, completely goes off. That's the point I'm trying to make there straight off the bat. Nice, that's actually demonstrated in this video. So for this corner, you sort of want to lift a little bit. You want to clip the end of that grass there. It gives you a good run here. As you can see, I've got a really good run on the Spaniard here in the Beetle. And as you head towards this left-hander now, what you're looking for, basically, is similar to Tsukuba. It's sort of where the apex is for this slight left. Tsukuba was slight right, this is slight left. And that's what I'm aiming for, and that's when I want to start braking, basically. I want to straight line the braking. I was on a bit of a tighter line there just due to the overtake. You may want to overlay in the car, so that's braking with a dab of accelerator, just to make sure you understeer rather than oversteer. Now this corner here, this is why you don't pick an MR car, because if you notice, the Beetle just runs off wide there. The engine in the front of this car keeps the car planted, allows you to get around that corner much easier than an MR car. Lots of MR cars will start sliding and going off there. Now, as you see on the screen now, the curbing is what I use again for this last corner. Nice and easy. Try and straight line your braking then towards the apex. Notice that there. Lovely line. Through we go. And that is a track guide. But just again on MR cars, so think about Dragon Trail Seaside when you go through the chicane of death, as I nearly die there. Basically, if you get a bump or a lift on the front in an MR car as you're accelerating, the whole of the car just understeers off because there's no weight over the front tyres. The front tyres do the turning. It's that same principle on that corner, which is why the FR cars are going to dominate here over MR cars. Now, like you'll be able to, you know, use an MR car if you want to. You just got to be very careful of that corner in particular. Anyway, we advance a bit further on now in the race, and we've just got up to drop here, or E-drop, another Spaniard in a Beetle. The Spaniards love the Beetles, apparently, as we then head towards this left-hander, and guess what's going to happen? The same thing I was talking about there. You notice how he understeered quickly, and E-drop is about to drop it there into the barrier, up into P7. How about that, folks? Now, let's advance to lap number 4. This is where the race gets super exciting. Because we have a lovely four-way scrap here. I'd say you can have a good race here. Lots of different lines, lots of room for everybody. Let's catch up to the French driver here, Le Petit. What a French name that is as well. I think it's a perfect French name, isn't it, really? So we're going to this left here. We've got Belov in front of us as well. let's see what we can do then. So heading towards this right, obviously we struggled a little bit earlier when the German just went on tight line. No tight lines here. This is that third gear that I was talking about. Look at that beautiful line there. Just allows the corner to drag you around. Going to look down the inside as BMW sees me as well. Very good awareness by Le Petit there. As we then head towards the left, we've got Consta on our rear as well now. So we're just kind of trying to keep it tight here. I know that if I keep it tight then get that late apex, no one's going around the outside there. You need that inside apex as we then head towards this right-hander now. Aston goes a little bit wider here. So you always want to sort of try and clip that grass if you can, just at the very end. Very, very good apex that right at the end of that corner. As we look now towards this left and then this sharp right. So they go deep here. I brake early, expecting that to happen. Just a slight tap there. Obviously, no one's been dirty there. It's just obviously a slight tap, nothing major. As we then head up the hill then. So you want to really get it tight there. Up we go. So I didn't do that very well. The Aston and the BMW getting a much better drive off the corner there. I see Consta in my rear view. So I'm sort of trying to stay central here. Just to, you know, show my intentions. Very clear here. So his goal gets very tight very quickly. There's a slight tap on the French driver on Belov, and we sort of just get rewarded for that basically, just for our positioning earlier on. But you know, nice race. You know, as I say, I don't normally enjoy Alsace that much, and usually when the combo is right at Alsace, it's brilliant. Sometimes the combos are just shocking at Alsace, and it just makes the track horrible. This time, they've got it right. I mean, Group 3 is a good track here. You can have some good racing. We'll see how the week goes, of course, but that is it from this circuit. We're going to head over to Japan now. Welcome to the classic combo then. It's Suzuka, it's Super GT. Happy, happy, happy days. And there you go, take 3 drinks now, by the way. Let's have a look at the race details first of all. It is 10 laps here at Suzuka. We do have a rolling start, but be careful if you're towards the rear of the pack. If you're in P20, no need to worry. I'll talk about that in a second. We are on racing soft and medium tyres, with the mediums the only ones that are required. Fuel usage is ×2, and tyre wear is ×6. And obviously tyre wear that's quite high for Suzuka, because it's it's very much a downforce circuit. It really pushes hard on those tyres. So there is some strategy here as well, which is also good. Happy, happy, happy days. Take 3 drinks if you're playing that game. I'm in the GTR 16 car. Obviously that's the go-to car in Super GT. The Lexus seems quite okay there as well, looking at how people were racing. But, you know, pick what you like again. Just enjoy the racing. You don't have to always go for the meta car all the time. Let's jump to the race then, where we'll have a very good race. Honestly, this is a very enjoyable race. And also a track guide, and also some memes, because who doesn't like memes? Here we are then at the start. All the GTRs flashing their lights there. And nice to see a few familiar names in there as well, so shout out to everybody. I'm not going to go through everybody's name there. You can see the Lexus. We've got an NSX in front of us as well. But look on the map. Yes. So if you start in P20, you start at Tidgney 2. How this bug is still in the game when it was highlighted a year ago is beyond me. Oh my word. What a stupid glitch. So unfortunately Ollie's already out of the race before it even begins. But we're going to start on the medium tyre here. And what we're actually going to do is a 2-stop. So make sure strategy is available to you. You got the 1-stop, which is the standard 5 medium or 6 medium, and then 5 soft or 4 soft, depending on how long you go on the mediums. Now, I go for the 2-stop here, just because I fancied some more fun. The pit stop is extremely quick. It's about 4 and a bit seconds, something like that. So literally you can have some fun, and because I'm starting at the back, I was like, I'll do it on mediums, you know, I'll do medium, soft, let's have some fun. And we're going to quickly catch up to the South African in the NSX here. Now this is a very scary moment. I'm coming through here, right, and I see the driver up ahead, and look how close. Where's the hitbox? I don't know how that wasn't contact. It was mental. But hey, we survived, which is happy days, I guess. And through the left we go then. So the mediums can do okay. They're about a second slower than the softs. But the problem is, obviously, if the pit stop is so fast for 4 seconds or so, then, you know, it's better to race on the softs effectively, especially if you're at the front. When you're in the middle of the pack, you're going to get stuck in all sorts of battling. And this is where the strategy plays into effect, because you could effectively do 2 medium, 4 soft, 4 soft. And then obviously you might get into a gap then where you can really use those softs. So, you know, there is strategy here. You know, it's not like you have to stick to 5-5 or 6-4. You can do 1-5-4 or 2-4-4 or 4-4-2. We're going into football now, apparently, as we go through Spoon there. So lots of different strategy available to you, which is nice. You know, this is exactly what we want, isn't it? From racing, strategy, some racing. That's the whole point of it. As we continue on past Ayambo, we're going to talk about Ayambo in a little bit, because I need to apologise to Ayambo, I think. It's a bit of a weird one, but we'll get to that shortly. As we head then towards the chicken. Somebody had a go at me for calling the chicanes chickens, so I'm going to carry on calling them chickens. Max Power goes into the pits. I already knew I was going in as well. But effectively, maybe I could have actually stayed out on the mediums here. And you're going to see why, because look at that lot. We have come out right in the thick of some traffic here, basically. So these softs aren't really going to get used properly. It does mean some good racing though, right? And that's what you want to see. So let's catch up to these guys now then, as we head into these at the S's again. This is where the softs really obviously work compared to the mediums. Look how fast we are catching these guys up ahead. I don't know if they're on medium softs or whatever, but we are catching them so fast, me and Max Power here. Max Power obviously in the Lexus, I'm in the GTR. The Coca-Cola GTR actually, as we come through that left-hander there. So Max Power looking to get past Tidgney 1, not really a place to overtake, especially in Super GT machinery. It doesn't really work out very well at all, as Stokey goes off there. Now I actually thought my incident was involving Stokey. Only watching this back and editing this now, I was like, oh, okay, it did involve Stokey. So I did say, did I hit you? But I wasn't nowhere near Stokey, so yeah, that's an interesting one. Anyway, we leave that corner. We're going to be racing alongside Ayambo now. Some good side-by-side action here as we continue heading towards Spoon. So Ayambo just going to get the advantage here. A little bit of contact there, nothing major, just the way ping and little contacts work in this game. As through we go, somebody else off there. I didn't see who that was. Max Power gets a 1 second penalty. Max Power kept getting 1 second penalties in this race. Oh, goodbye, Cole. Nice knowing you. Yeah, actually, let's talk about the incidents first of all. So look at this. We've got an opposite Moses manoeuvre happening. Another carnage moment there with a couple of other people. We're heading in towards Spoon, so we're going to try and go side by side here. And then you'll notice there I lost my rear, but the game didn't give me the audio for losing my rear. Sorry, for the contact with Ayambo. Now I thought I hit Stokey, so at the end of the race I was like, Stokey, did I hit you? So I wasn't even sure if I hit somebody or whether they'd just gone off by themselves or whether they'd let off or whatever it might be. But obviously it turned out I did hit them with my rear headlight basically, and it fired them off with a ping-pongy physics. So apologies there, Ayambo. Obviously didn't mean to do that. Oh, track guide. Let's jump into a track guide then. Heading towards turn 1, you're going to have to be very careful with this. The later you brake, the better. So the more you go into this corner. So I was using this curb basically as a marker for Super GT. And you can see there, I've gone out towards the edge. It's second gear then for the second part of this. Just be careful there. The later you leave it, more chance you have of going off at turn 1. We know what it's like. Just ask Lightning when it happened at a World Tour event. Sorry, Lightning. Anyway, we continue through the S's here. So third gear. And then when you get to this point, you might want to drop it to second gear. I keep it in third here, but second gear will just drop the engine revs a little bit, help with engine braking. As through there we go. Be careful understeering off there. That's a very common thing to do. As we head towards Tidgney 1 then. Tidgney 1, nice and easy. That 50-meter board there. Basically, just dab the brakes, chuck it in. Hope you survive Tidgney 1, basically, as you head towards Tidgney 2. That's all I do for that one. As we continue on through there. Don't get it quite right this time. In towards Tidgney 2. The end of the curb is my marker usually. Now, I've been trying to brake a little bit earlier for Tidgney 2 more lately, because it seems to work out better, because I get a much better exit. So that's one thing to maybe look for when you are racing this circuit throughout this week. We head towards the hairpin now, so the South African lets me go, thank you very much. But as you head towards the hairpin, as always, the end of the curb here, that's your brake marker essentially. Just get straight, hammer the brakes, and then make sure you drop down to first gear. Now as you leave this hairpin, you want to accelerate earlier than you think, because later on in the race, I found that I could just accelerate round, it get a little bit of oversteer, but then it just catches itself because there's so much downforce with the car. So, you know, you can start pushing your luck a little bit with the accelerator there. Heading towards Spoon, it's our standard brake marker. There's the piece of tarmac that we always use there for Spoon. Nice and easy. And third gear, it varies. It's more fourth gear initially, then to third gear, but you might want to bounce the car, depending. So you can see, as we accelerate, we get very near the limiter. And then this is the second part of Spoon here, the end of the curb. Then I'm trying to turn in before that point, obviously. If you hit that point, you're going to spin out to Narnia there on the right side. See, Max Power's got that 1 second penalty. I'd say Max Power kept getting 1 second penalties throughout this race. I have no idea how. Only Max can answer that question. But this is beneficial for us. We know Max is very quick. So the fact Max got it allows us to get past very quickly. Obviously, Max knew I was going to get that place there just from the speed drop from the penalties. 130R is flat, don't know why I lifted, who knows. As we head towards the last corner then. So normally I brake as that yellow line emerges. In Super GT, I'm braking just before that yellow line emerges, okay? I brake a bit earlier just to make sure I get a nice line through the chicken here. And there we go, lovely line. And then you can cut quite a lot of this second part, and then just plant your foot, off you go. Should be fine and dandy. Alright, well, you advance a bit further on now, lap number 5, so we're going to come in the pits this lap. So we've got Fox Bear right in front of us. And we're looking to try and get the move done before there. And this is what I would recommend normally for 130R. It's just, if you're the outside car, just back off, because the inside car is not going to lift. They have nowhere to go. It's always better to lift off and then maybe go for the move again on the start-finish straight. But, you know, it's up to you at the end of the day. You race how you wish, as we just see Just Dio come in front of us as well. And again, we're going on the soft tyre here. Straight out of the pits. And this is where we got clean air once we get past Just Dio. Now, I suspected Just Dio had come in and put the mediums on. I didn't know for certain, so I wanted to get past really, really, really fast. Now, obviously, with this combo, when you look at Group 2, you go, okay, it's going to just be dirty air fest. But actually, it's not as bad as I thought, because there's so much strategy available to you with the softs and the mediums. I'm on a different tyre compound here, so I'm able to race Just Dio really, really nicely. And a couple of other people had some really good races, which we'll actually see later on as well. You know, this video is actually longer than you think, because this last race we have a good portion of highlights here that I can show you. As we look to go for the move at Tidgney 1, I say not the smartest move to go for a move at Tidgney 1. As I always brake early for Tidgney 2, because I get a run like that out of the corner. And hopefully we can get the move done here. Let's see, Just Dio gives it up there, and up into P9 we go. So we're not doing too bad, you know. If it's a dirty air race, we're up into P9. Not too shabby at all. Let's advance a bit further on then. So, that 4-second penalty, let me explain this. Someone's mentioned it in Discord as well. If you hit a car just as they go in the pits, so obviously they might slow down to go in the pits. If they then get in the pits, you're going to get a 4-second penalty. Be very warned of that. Penalty system being a bit pega there. So if you tap them and they go in the pits, you're getting a 4-second penalty. That's what that was for. So as I say, just be very, very careful there. Try and avoid hitting cars at this moment of the circuit, because you're more than likely going to get a penalty. Anyway, look at this for a nice little battle we've got going on here. So, who was that going in the pits? I couldn't actually see. Oh, the Belgium driver there. So, we're looking to try and get past Cheesy first of all here. We've got the French driver in front of them. So, it's a German sandwich with the Frenchman in the middle, isn't it? But I'm not overlapped here enough, so I backed out of this. I didn't really want to push my limits there. I've got 2 laps to go. P3 is in sight. Very much possibility of a podium. I'm on soft tyres. You know, it's there. It really is there. We've got the fastest lap as well, which is all good. So we're just going to come through the Asses here. And I was trying to think of a place to overtake. Again, obviously, if you don't have the slipstream, well, you've got the slipstream, but they also have the slipstream in front of you, it's a little bit more difficult to overtake, especially with the dirty as well. You can see the runs we're getting off the corners when we're taking different lines. I'd say Tidgney 1, do not go for an overtake at Tidgney 1. It's very much going to lead to carnage. It's a very high-speed corner as we then head towards Tidgney 2. So I was just trying to think of places to overtake. So obviously it's a bit crowded up ahead. So I had this in my mind straight off the bat. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to try and go around the outside here. So I try and do this. And I just keep my nose in there. And I've just got my car overlap there. Cheesy was very well driving very well there to even spot that, because that's a very risky move by myself. Very risky. I'm reliant on the other driver seeing me. He does see me, so thank you very much, Cheesy. As we then head into the first part of Spoon. So up 1 position, we've got 2 and a bit laps to go, 2 more positions to go. We can see them right in front of us. Should be on this. Should be on. Let's see what happens though. So we're going to try and get past the French driver here first of all, as we head towards 130R. Obviously we don't want to lift at all for this. Oh, look at that! I didn't have the cojones there to keep the foot flat to the floor. As we then head in towards the right. Mahata was doing a 2-stop there. Slight tap from behind from Cheesy. Just a little mistake. No big deal. You know, mistakes happen. As we then leave the chicken there. Start lap number 9. Now we're going to the end of the race here. This is how good this race is. You know, I've still got racing action all the way to the flag. Let's see what we can do then. Trying to overtake the French driver in towards turn 1. Not quite. And they keep a very tight line now. It's very good defensive driving, because obviously quite often people go for the cutback here to come out of here. Couldn't really do much there. So I'm stuck behind the French driver for now. Let's see what we can do on Chris. So again, I'm trying to look for different lines here to try and, you know, get my car overlapped. If I get my car's overlapped, I'm going to have the position irrespective. So I try and go for a much better line here. Just get a bit too much understeer, and I'm too close to the driver. So I have to pull out of it. A bit unfortunate there. As I've said about 400 times in this one, don't go for an overtake at Tidgney 1. and then we head towards Tidgney 2 here. So a bit too close here to go for any sort of move. So we'll leave that corner. Let's see what we can do heading towards the hairpin then. Go around the outside, potentially. No, not quite. Good defensive driving again from Chris there. It's a good race in this. Honestly, I really enjoyed this race. It was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I mean, it's a little bit sketchy in the fact that cars are, you know, the faster you go, the more ping is an issue because cars move about a little bit here. As you see, I'm right behind Chris here. So if we have a look at this a little bit more, so slight tap on Chris there. There's a slight tap there with Cheesy. What happened there is that obviously the curb bounced me off a little bit. It didn't bounce me off all the way, and Cheesy was running me quite tight, as well as me following Chris. So a slight tap, ping pong, you know, all that good stuff. So Cheesy unfortunately goes off there. Just a racing incident now, you can't really do much more about it. I did say to Cheesy I'll have a look at it after just to check, because Cheesy wasn't happy with it. Of course you wouldn't be happy with it. Oh, look at this. I forgot about that move. Oh, around the outside. How about that? Oh, what a move. But yes, Cheesy wasn't happy with it, of course, and you wouldn't be, you know, if you go off the circuit. I said I'd have a look, you know, just to double check whether it was my mistake or not. I don't think it was my mistake. Let me know if you think it was my mistake. I don't think it was. I think it's very risky to go for the outside of spoon anyway, but irrespective of that, literally, it's, you know, if you run someone tight, even if they have the slightest bit of oversteer, you're going to get ping pong physics. So, you know, it is what it is. We move on with the race. Now, we're going to chase Nugget down here. So, I thought P3 was going to be a definite, and we've only just got past the Frenchman, so we've got this lap to do it. So, it's going to be tight, this, and this is where it gets tense. We have got to catch this German driver at a fair pace of knots, but we've got the soft tyre, which is a good tyre, and we do have the pace. You know, Group 2 Suzuka, just Suzuka in general for me, is a very good circuit for me. I'm always very quick here as we then head towards Tidgney 2. So I was hoping that I could just get into slipstream range just after the hairpin. That would give me slipstream all the way to spoon, and I could overtake after spoon as we head towards the hairpin. Do we get this done? Notice how I'm going to plant my foot early here. I've got a bit more extra speed, and we're going to start gaining. Not quite in the slipstream. How tempting is that? We are literally less than a tenth off that slipstream. Less than half a tenth now as we head towards spoon. As we chuck it into the first one. Really push our limits there. Get into the second one. Now we're close enough. Now we are in that slipstream. We have to pull a mega gap here as we continue towards 130R. Then that slipstream going to reel us in. And at this point I was like, I ain't lifting. I'm doing this flat, okay? And you're going to see me do this flat. In towards 130R we go, flat as you like, in towards the braking zone. Now I thought I broke late, but they broke later. They went a little bit too deep here. Happy days. Unfortunately not happy days. So Nugget unfortunately comes back on circuit. And yeah, we get hit off. So yeah, at P3 we drop down to P8 unfortunately. So a little bit frustrating from my part, but you know, racing incidents do happen. Probably could have come on the circuit a little bit better there, couldn't Nugget. He did apologise after the race, so it is what it is. But an interesting week of races. B and C are actually superb, to be honest. I fully enjoyed B and C. A, not so much, but A was affected by the lap 1 incident. I imagine you might be able to have the odd good race there, but personally, I'd be all over B and C. But that's going to be it for me now, folks. If you did like it, make sure you like it. Hit subscribe if you want to see more. Fair few people are streaming the daily races today. Here he is, Basic Ollie, Super GT, Key. They're all doing it. Check them all out, folks. But that's going to be it for me now, folks. I'll see you again very soon.